Good morning, my dear students. Welcome to our today's zoology class. I hope you all studied the last class question answers. And in the last class, we have completed three 5-mark questions, three important 5-mark questions: menstrual cycle, spermatogenesis, and oogenesis. Okay. So the menstrual cycle meaning it is a cyclic changes takes place inside the female reproductive system once in 28 or 29 days is called menstrual cycle. And the second question we studied about the spermatogenesis. Here spermatogenesis meaning the process of formation of sperm inside the seminiferous tubule of the testis is called spermatogenesis. Okay. Then the next one is oogenesis. The process of formation of ovum or egg inside the ovary of the female reproductive system is called oogenesis. So these three question answers already we have completed in the last class. Okay, I hope you all studied these question answers. Okay, today we are going to study about another one topic. Okay, so today's topic is fertilization and implantation. Fertilization and implantation. Here fertilization meaning the fusion, or the simple definition of the word fertilization is the fusion of both male and female gamete. Male gamete is called sperm and the female gamete is called ovum. So the fusion of these two gametes is called fertilization. Okay. Then the previous classes already I explained you the male sex cell is called sperm. It is in haploid condition, and the female sex cell is called ovum or egg. It is also in haploid condition. So the fusion or joining of haploid egg cell and haploid sperm cell is called fertilization. So at the end of the fertilization process, a diploid zygote is formed. So at the end of the fertilization process, from two haploid sex cells, one diploid zygote is formed. So this process is called fertilization. This process is called fertilization. Then next one, implantation. Implantation meaning the process of fixing of fertilized egg or the zygote inside the wall of the uterus, or in the wall of the uterus, is called implantation. So the process of fixing the zygote in the wall of the uterus is called implantation. So first we are going to study about this fertilization and implantation. So already I told you the definition of the word fertilization. Now listen very carefully. See, this is the male sex cell sperm. Sperm. This is the ovum or egg. Okay. So this is the structure of female reproductive system, ovary and uterus. This egg cell is developed from or produced by this ovary, and the sperm cell is produced from the seminiferous tubule of the male reproductive system. So now the egg cell produced by this ovary and the sperm cell produced by the seminiferous tubule of the male reproductive system is joining to form a diploid zygote. Okay, so maximum these two cells, this egg cell and the sperm cells, these two cells are joining in the fallopian tube. Already in the last class we studied about the structure of fallopian tube also. Okay, so this region, the funnel shaped structure, this region is called infundibulum, this region is called ampulla, and this region is called isthmus. Okay, so infundibulum, ampulla, isthmus. Okay, so these are the three parts of the fallopian tube. Okay, this is the fallopian tube. So this egg cell and the sperm cell, both cells are joining in the junction of ampulla and isthmus. So just imagine this region is called isthmus and this region is called ampulla region. So the egg cell is moving from the ovary and staying in this region. Okay, in the region means the junction of both ampulla and isthmus. At the same time, through the vagina, the male sex cells also entering in this region, the junction of this junction region. Understand? So in this junction only, this egg cell and the sperm cell, both cells are joining and the fertilization process takes place. Understand? And one important condition for the successful fertilization process, both egg cells and the sperm cell, both cells are simultaneously, they should reach this region, reach this region. Understand? So then only both the egg cells and the sperm cell both can join togetherly, and it can be converted into what? Zygote, diploid zygote. Understand, my dear students? So I hope you understand the meaning of the word fertilization. Understand? And maximum the fertilization processes takes place and the junction of both ampulla and isthmus of the fallopian tube. Both junction of ampulla and the isthmus region of the fallopian tube. Understand? Understand a few? Now, listen very carefully. See, this sperm cell should enter inside the egg cell. That means the nucleus of the sperm cell should enter inside the nucleus, inside the cytoplasm of the egg cell. Then only these egg cells can be fertilized. These egg cells can be fertilized. So, to enter inside this egg cell, the sperm's acrosome playing a very important role, because already in the previous classes we have studied the structure of this egg cell. Egg cell is covered with three membranes. The inner membrane is called Bethlahem membrane, middle membrane is called zona pellucida, and the outer layer is called corona radiata. So, the egg cell of the human being is covered with three membranes: Bethlahem membrane, zona pellucida, and corona radiata. So, three layers are there. Okay, then the outer surface of these layers, this corona radiata, many small follicle cells also present. Many small follicle cells also present. So these follicle cells are jointed. Okay, jointed or held together by a acid. Name of this acid is called hyaluronic acid. Name of this acid is called hyaluronic acid. So all the follicle cells present the outer side of the ovum or egg is held together or attached together by a acid is called hyaluronic acid. And in the previous class I told you that in the hip region, the tip region of the sperm cell, this part is called acrosome. This acrosome region consists of one enzyme, hyaluronidase enzyme. Here the acid name is called hyaluronic acid, and the enzyme present in the acrosome is called hyaluronidase enzyme. Okay, so when this sperm cell is reaching these follicle cells of the egg cell, immediately the hyaluronidase enzyme is released in the follicular cells. Okay, listen very carefully. When the sperm cell reaching the follicular cells of the ovum or egg, immediately the acrosome region of the sperm is releasing the hyaluronidase enzyme. This enzyme disintegrates these follicle cells. So the sperm cell can easily enter inside the egg, and immediately the sperm cell releasing their nucleus inside the egg cell. Now the egg cell is in diploid condition 2n. Already haploid number is there. Here also haploid. Both haploid are joined together. Now the egg is fertilized here. The fertilized egg is in diploid condition. I hope you all understood all these points. So for the effective fertilization, the nucleus of the sperm cell should enter inside the cytoplasm of the egg cell. Okay, then the egg cell is protected or covered by three membranes: Bethlahem membrane, zona pellucida, and corona radiata. Then the outer surface, some follicular cells also there, follicle cells also there, and all these follicle cells are held together or attached together by one acid is called hyaluronic acid. So these follicle cells should be separated or disintegrated. Okay, so for this purpose, the sperm's acrosome are releasing one enzyme, it is called hyaluronidase enzyme. This enzyme disintegrates the follicle cells, and finally the sperm is entering inside the egg cell. Now the nucleus is released inside the egg cell. So immediately the egg cell is converted into a fertilized egg. It has diploid number of chromosomes, 2n chromosomes. Diploid means 46 chromosomes. Understand? So I hope you all understood this point. Understand? Then listen. So all this process takes place in the junction of ampulla and isthmus. Now, just imagine the fertilized egg. Okay, this is a fertilized egg. This fertilized egg is involved in one process. Name of that process is called cleavage. That means by the process of cleavage, the single zygote or fertilized egg is divided into two cells. Now it is called plastome. Yes. Okay, now it is called a plastome. Yes. Then 4. Then 8 into 16. Okay, 16 into 32. Like that, the number of cells is increased. The XII, the fertilized XII or the zygote is divided in their number. Zygote is divided in their number. So now each cells are called plastomeres. Each cells are called plastomeres. Listen very carefully. So after the fertilization process is over, the zygote is involved in the cleavage process. Finally, the zygote is divided into many cells. First 2 cells, then 2 into 4, 4, 8, 16, 32. Like that, the cells number is increased. Okay, now these cells are called plastomeres. Now these cells are called plastomeres. Understand? So now this plastomeres, this stage is called Morla stage. Okay, so within 72 hours, the single zygote is divided into 16 or more than 16 plastomeres, 16 or more than 16 cells. Single diploid zygote is divided into 16 or more than 16 cells within 72 hours. Within 72 hours. So now this condition is called Morla. Sorry, now this stage is called Morla. Now this stage is called Morla. So listen very carefully. At the cleavage process is started when the both cells are joining togetherly. Okay, so immediately after the joining of both the egg cell and sperm cell, immediately the zygote is formed. The zygote is divided into 2 cells, then 4 cells, then 8 to 16. Like that, the cells number is increased. Okay, so within 72 hours, 16 or more than 16 cells are formed in the zygote. Now this stage is called Morla. Now this stage is called Morla. Okay, so now this Morla stage is moving from this fallopian tube and finally it is fixed in the wall of the uterus. This process is called implantation. This process is called implantation. So fertilization takes place in the fallopian tube. After the fallopian tube, the fertilized egg, that means the Morla stage structure is moving from the fallopian tube to the uterus and it is fixing or it is attached to the wall of the uterus. This process is called implantation. This process is called implantation. Understand? Understand, my dear students? So now we completed how the fertilization process takes place, where this fertilization process takes place and what happening after the fertilization process. Okay, finally what happened now? The fertilized ovum is reaching or fixed in the wall of the uterus. Understand? Understand you? Then when it is reached this uterus, fixed in the uterus wall of the uterus region, immediately it is converted into another, or it is changed into another word, structure. Another word, structure. Name of that structure is called blastocyst. Name of the structure is called blastocyst. So just imagine the blastocyst. So this blastocyst stage is present in this region. Okay. So here the blastocyst is a hollow ball-like structure. Okay, and it is made up of more than 100 cells. It is made up of more than 100 cells. And 2 types of cells are present in the blastocyst. The outer side, a single layer cells are present. These cells are called trophoblast. Okay, so the outer side of the blastocyst consists of a single layer of cells. These cells are called trophoblast. Then the inner side, 20 to 30 small cells are there. These cells are called inner cell mass. These cells are called inner cell mass. These cells are called inner cell mass. The embryo or the baby or the uterus, the fetus is developed from this inner cell mass. Okay, so the baby or the embryo is developed from the inner cell mass region of the blastocyst. Understand? First, for the development of fetus, first this inner cell mass is divided into two. One is epiplast and the second one is called hypoplast. So, from this inner cell mass only the three germ layers are developed first. Germ layers, 11th standard you have studied, ectoderm, endoderm and mesoderm. These three are the germ layers. So, from the inner cell mass, first the three germ layers are developed. Then after that, from the germ layers, all the organs are developed. So, first the inner cell mass is divided into two, epiplast and hypoplast. The cells of this epiplast region is converted into ectoderm and the cells of this hypoplast region is converted into endoderm. The cells present between this epiplast and hypoplast is converted into mesoderm. Listen very carefully. The blastocyst consists of more than 100 cells and there are two types of cells are present in the blastocyst. The outer layer is called trophoblast and it's a single layer cell. And the inner side 20 to 30 small cells are there. They are called inner cell mass. From this inner cell mass only the three germ layers are developing and after few days from the three germ layers all the organs are developing. Okay. So first the inner cell mass is divided into two, epiplast and hypoplast. Epiplast cells are converted into, epiplast region is converted into ectoderm and the hypoplast region is converted into endoderm. Then the cells present between these two, this epiplast and hypoplast is converted into mesoderm. Understand? Understand all of you, my dear students? So now we completed one important section. Okay, so this blastocyst, structure of blastocyst is a very important 3-mark question. Okay. Then, listen. So already I told you, maximum this fertilization processes takes place in the where? Inside this junction of, in this junction region of ambula and isthmus. After that, the fertilized ovum is reaching the uterus region for implantation. Okay. So the pregnancy takes place inside the uterus only. The baby or the fetus is developing inside the uterus region of the female reproductive system. But in some case, this fertilization process takes place outside this uterus. Okay, the pregnancy is maintaining outside the uterus. So this type of pregnancy is called ectopic pregnancy. This type of pregnancy is called ectopic pregnancy. Understand, my dear students? Maximum this ectopic pregnancy takes place inside the fallopian tube. Okay? Maximum the ectopic pregnancy takes place inside the fallopian. Normally the pregnancy is maintaining inside the uterus, endometrium region of the uterus. But in some female, because of some reason, the pregnancy is maintaining the fallopian tube. So this condition is called ectopic pregnancy. Okay, 95% of the ectopic pregnancy takes place in the fallopian tube. It is very danger. Okay, because it leads to bleeding, internal bleeding. Okay, if ectopic pregnancy takes place inside the fallopian tube, sometimes the fallopian tube can rupture. Okay, or break down. So it leads to death also. Understand? So ectopic pregnancy is very, very dangerous to both the fetus and also to the mother. Understand? Understand a few? So now we completed one important section in this fertilization and implantation. Understand, my dear students? Okay. Now we are going to study about next. Sorry, I forgot to say one more 2-mark question. Very important 2-mark question here. See. Already I told you the sperm is entering inside the egg and the fertilization process takes place, isn't it? See, once a sperm is entered inside this egg, immediately The cortical granules present inside the egg developing a new membrane. Developing a new membrane. This membrane is called fertilization membrane. This membrane is called fertilization membrane. The use of this fertilization membrane is this membrane only prevent the entry of other sperms inside. Normally only one sperm only should enter inside the egg for fertilization purpose. Okay, so after the entering of one sperm inside the egg, immediately the cytoplasm producing a membrane. This membrane is called fertilization membrane. This fertilization membrane prevent the entry of other sperms. Okay, so it avoid the polyspermy. Polyspermy meaning entering of more sperm inside a single egg is called polyspermy. Understand? So for what is the use of fertilization membrane? Fertilization membrane is used to prevent the entry of many sperm inside a single egg or single ovum is a function of fertilization membrane. Understand all of you? Understand? Then next we are going to study about the extra embryonic membranes. Okay, this is a very important 2-mark question. Listen very carefully. See, extra embryonic membrane. Okay, embryo means the fetus or the baby developing inside the uterus is called what? Embryo. Understand? So this, when the baby or the fetus is developing inside this uterus, the baby is protected by 4 membranes. Okay, there are 4 membranes are protecting the baby from the external shock, from the injuries. Understand? The first membrane. So just imagine this is a uterus. Okay, this is a uterus. So this just imagine it's a baby. So there are 4 membranes are present. All these membranes are togetherly called extra embryonic membranes. All these membranes are togetherly called extra embryonic membranes. The innermost membrane is called amnion. Innermost membrane is called amnion. So amnion membrane protecting the baby from the shock, from the injuries, and this membrane only regulate the heat, body temperature of the baby. Okay, then inside this amnion, one fluid is there. This fluid name is called amniotic fluid. Inside this fluid, inside this amniotic fluid only, the baby is moving or the fetus is moving. Okay, so this amniotic fluid acts as a buoyancy. Buoyancy means it's a medium used for floating purpose. So the baby is floating inside the amniotic fluid. Understand? So once again I repeat all the points about this amnion. Amnion is a innermost membrane or innermost layer. It's a double layer membrane. Okay, double layer membrane. It's a translucent membrane and protecting the baby from the injuries and from the shock. And this membrane only regulate the temperature of the fetus. And inside this amnion membrane, one fluid is there. It is called amniotic fluid. This amniotic fluid is act as a buoyancy. That means inside this fluid only the baby is moving or the fetus is moving. Understand? Understand a few? Then next membrane is called yolk sac. The second membrane is called yolk sac. This yolk sac is the part of the gut. Part of the gut. Here gut means intestine. Okay, and this region, this yolk sac is act as a earliest reservoir of blood cells and blood vessels. When the baby is developing the beginning stage, the blood cells, blood vessels, everything are present in the yolk sac. That's all about this yolk sac. Then next membrane is called allantois. The third membrane is called allantois. Okay, so allantois is the part of urinary bladder. This membrane is the part of urinary bladder, and this membrane or this layer is the basic structure for umbilical cord. Okay, basic structure for umbilical cord. Here umbilical cord means it's a very small tube-like structure connecting the fetus with the placenta. This long tube-like structure is called placenta. At the end of this region is called what region? Umbilical cord region. Okay, so this umbilical cord region is developed from the allantois layer, and the last layer is called chorion. Okay, it is outermost layer. Chorion is the outermost layer. This layer only protecting all the other three layers, because this amnion, yolk sac, and these three layers are present inside the chorion layer. Understand all of you? Understand? Then one more structure is there. This is called chorionic villi. That means the anterior region of this layer, of these layers, a small finger-like projections are there. They are called chorionic villi. They are called chorionic villi. This chorionic villi consists of more amount of fetus blood. More amount of fetus blood. And this chorionic villi is also covered with a long tube-like structure. It is called cynosis. The cynosis consists of mother's blood. Understand? So, chorionic villi is a small finger-like projection. It consists of the blood of the fetus. And near this chorionic villi, one tube-like structure, cynosis also there. This cynosis is filled with mother's blood. Understand, my dear students? So, now we completed one important 2-mark question. Sometimes this structure may be asked for, this diagram may be asked for 3-mark question. Okay. So, the 2-mark question is, what are the 4 membranes, 4 extra embryonic membranes? Like that only they will ask the question. What are the 4 extra embryonic membranes? The first membrane is called amnion. Second one is called yolk sac. Third one is called allantois. And the fourth one is called chorion. Okay, so inside the amnion membrane only the fluid is present. The fluid name is called amniotic fluid. This amniotic fluid doing many functions. Okay, protecting the baby from the injuries. Okay, from the shock. It regulates the temperature of the fetus. Okay, like that many functions. Understand? Understand few. So now we completed one important 2-mark question. Okay, the question is, what are the 4 extra embryonic membrane? Understand? Then now. Already we studied about the germ layers. There are 3 germ layers: ectoderm, endodome, and mesoderm. Okay, so these 3 are the important germ layers. Only 3 germ layers only. Okay, in all the vertebrate organisms, particularly in human beings, 3 germ layers is only there. One is ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm. Okay, so listen. What are the organs developed from these 3 germ layers? Now we are going to study about what are the organs developed from which germ layers. Okay, so the first one is ectoderm. Central nervous system, peripheral nervous system, epidermis. Epidermis means the outer surface layer of the skin is called epidermis. Okay, central nervous system, peripheral nervous system, epidermis, mammary gland, milk producing gland. So all these organs are evolved from the ectoderm, first germ layer. Okay, it's a very important 3-mark question. Next, mesoderm. The middle germ layer is called mesoderm. This mesoderm develop cartilages. Cartilages means soft bones. Bones present in the ear, bones present in the tip of the nose. So these bones are example for the cartilage. So cartilage bones, ordinary bones, muscles, kidney, ureter, gonads. Gonads means sex organs. Okay, testis and ovary. Male gonad is called testis and the female gonad is called ovary. So these organs are developed from the second or the middle germ layer, mesoderm. And the next germ layer is called endoderm. Okay, from the endoderm some cells and organs are developed. See, first one, epithelium of the digestive system, respiratory system. Okay, our digestive system, then respiratory system, both the systems consist of different types of epithelial tissue. Okay, so all these epithelial tissues are developed from the endoderm. Then liver, pancreas, thyroid, parathyroid. Here pancreas, thyroid, parathyroid, these are the endocrine glands. Okay, so all these endocrine glands and the epithelial tissues of the digestive system, respiratory system, everything are developed from the endoderm. Understand, my dear students? So now we completed what are the organs developed from the 3 germ layers. This is very important 3-mark question and 1-mark question also. Okay, sometimes some 1-mark question may be also asked from this topic. Understand a few? Then Then the next topic is gestation period. Gestation period means pregnancy period is otherwise called gestation period. Okay, maximum 9 to 10 months. Okay, so total number of days pregnancy of the gestation period is 280 days. Within 280 days, a well-developed baby is ready to born from the uterus of the mother. So totally 280 days is the gestation period or pregnancy period. Then totally 40 weeks. All these 280 days are converted into for how many weeks? 40 weeks. Then all these 40 weeks are divided into 3 trimesters. Listen very carefully. Totally the pregnancy days are 280 days, 40 weeks and 9 months. Okay, 9 months. All these 9 months are considered as a 3 trimesters. First 3 months are considered as a first trimester. Then 4th, 5th, 6th. These 3 months are considered as a second trimester. Then 7th, 8th, 9th. These 3 months are considered as a third trimesters. Okay, listen very carefully. The first trimester, what are the organs are developing inside the fetus body. Then the second month, second trimester, third trimester. Okay, first trimester means first month, second month and third month. So during this first trimester, heart is developed, limbs, both hands and legs, lungs, liver, genital organ, reproductive organ. So yeah, so all these organs are developed in the body of the fetus during the first trimester. That means first 3 months. Then the next 3 months, that means the second trimester, face is well developed. Then eyelid, eyelashes, hair, muscles, everything are developed during the second trimester. And during the third trimester, the baby or the fetus is fully developed and it is ready for birth. Okay, ready for birth. Understand all of you? So during this gestation period, many changes takes place. That means many organs are developing in the body of the fetus one by one. Okay, so all these organs are developed in the fetus during these 3 trimesters. After 9 months, a well-developed baby is ready for birth. Understand all of you? Understand? So I hope you all understood this gestation period. Okay, here also many one more questions here. Suppose the liver is formed in which gestation? Okay, sorry, which trimester? Or the lungs is formed in which trimester? Like that, some one more question also may be asked. Understand, students? Understand a few? Then next, hormones involved in the pregnancy. See, there are many hormones. The last topic, now we can complete. See, there are many hormones are involved in this pregnancy, in the maintaining of pregnancy in the female body. The first hormone is H, human chorionic gonadotrophin. Okay, then human chorionic somatotrophin. Understand? Then human placental lactogen, estrogen, progesterone, then cortisol, then relaxin, thyroxine. Like that, many hormones are produced during the pregnant time. Okay, maximum this human gonadotrophin hormone, human placental lactogen, then relaxin. These 3 hormones are produced at the last time of pregnancy. Understand? So remaining other times, these hormones also develop or produced in the body of the female. Understand? So all these hormones are playing a very important role in the maintenance of pregnancy. Understand, my dear students? So okay, now we have completed many small 2 more questions and 3 more questions and one important diagram also. So I hope you all understood clearly. So study well. Then the next class we will start the 3rd chapter. Okay, so listen and study very carefully, and many 2 more questions and 3 more questions today I explained. Okay, and one diagram also, the extra amniotic embryonic membranes. Okay, it's a very important diagram also. Understand? Okay, next class, please. Thank you.